Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Wafiyah Asyifah, a student majoring in English Education, Class A, Alauddin Islamic University, Makassar. This video is to fulfill the second assignment in the Introduction to Linguistics course. For the question number 1, do you agree with saying that it's important to learn linguistics at the Department of English Language Education? Why? Please explain your reasons. I agree by saying that it's important to study linguistics in the Department of English Education because to teach a teacher use language to convey lessons. As a student majoring in English education, I feel that linguistics is very important to learn because a language teacher requires knowledge of the subdisciplines of phonology, morphology, syntax, semantics, lexicology to knowledge of the relationship between language and society and culture, where this knowledge is obtained from linguistics. For the question number 2, to understand linguistics, we firstly need to know the fundamental concepts of language and communication. Do you agree with that? Why? I agree because knowing the basic concepts of language and communication will make it easier to understand linguistics. Linguistics is the science of language, and the object of linguistics is language. And language is a tool or communication. Therefore, it is important to know the basic concepts of language and communication because if you do not know the basic concepts of language and communication, it will be difficult to understand linguistics. For the question number 3, what is communication and how many communication systems do humans have? Explain your answer. The definition of communication is an interactive process of sending symbols or messages through certain media and modes from the sender to the recipient of the message. The receiver then attempts to decode the symbols to interpret the meaning of the intended message sent by the sender, where basically communication arises because there is a need to connect with other people. There are 3 communication systems used by humans in their social life. First, speech communication system. Speech communication system. In this communication system, humans function their speech organs to speak, which then of course produce sounds, where the speech we produce when we speak has meaning starting from the margin of segmental and suprasegmental sound sequence and then assembled into words. It is assembled into a sentence. Then the sentence is spoken to convey the meaning that is in our minds. And to produce speech, there are 3 types of linguistic knowledge used, namely knowledge of semantic rules, knowledge of syntactic rules, and knowledge of phonological rules. 2. Writing communication system. Another communication system that humans use every day that we often encounter is writing. In this case, the writing communication system certainly use coherent symbols in the form of text that can be understood by the reader. Well, the written language communication system requires linguistic knowledge similar to the speech. Similar to that of speech, such as lexical, syntactic, and semantic knowledge, as well as other practical knowledge used, such as knowledge of the content of writing, knowledge of writing organization, and knowledge of writing style. 3. Gesture communication system. Gestures are known as nonverbal or vocal communication system in which parts of the human body, such as finger, hand moves, and face, are used to convey certain messages in human social interactions. This communication system is used to replace speech or be used to accompany speech. Gestures are used as an additional communication system when we find it difficult to convey messages verbally. Second, language includes the type of language used among people who are deaf and cannot speak physically in terms of language competence. Second, language has an alphabet manual lexicon, and language words gestures are studied in the field of linguistics. Then, for the question number 4, what types of knowledge do people have that they can produce their speeches in their social interactions? Explain your answer. There is a certain language system in our minds. To produce speech, there are 3 knowledge that must be possessed, namely knowledge of semantic rules, knowledge of syntactic rules, and knowledge of phonological rules. First, in knowledge of the rules of the semantics, here before someone speaks, someone will arrange an abstract idea or idea what he wants to say first in his mind. Second, knowledge of syntactic rules. This knowledge refers to the speaker's skills in compiling language characteristics, namely lexical and grammatical properties. Third, knowledge of phonological rules. In this knowledge refers to the skill of letting lemmas be connected with lexemes conceptually in sentence structure, convert into sound sequences to express messages. So basically, there are 3 types of knowledge that people have that they can produce their speech in their social interactions. Namely, knowledge where before someone speaks, someone will arrange an abstract idea or idea what he wants to say, then change the meaning into a sentence, pronounce the message with sound. For the question number 5, what is language? Explain the definition by considering its fundamental properties. By considering its basic nature, we can define language as a method of communication system that is human in nature because it is only produced and used by humans to communicate meaning or message from thought and feelings that are built from conventional symbols such as sounds, words, sentences, and meaning. For question number 6, according to Fromkin V, Rodman R, and Hyams N, 2003, there are at least 3 theories suggested to describe the origin of language. What theory are they, and what do you know about the theories? Explain your answer. Well, according to Fromkin V, Rodman R, and Hyams N, 2003, there are at least 3 theories suggested to describe the origin of language. Ideas: the theory of defined origin, the theory of evolutionary development, and the theory of language as a human invention. First, theory of defined origin. What I know in this theory is that language is a gift from God. All religious people believe that language is a gift from God to mankind, and basically those who are religious accept and do not deny that God Almighty has given humans the ability to language that distinguishes them from other living creatures. 2. The theory of evolutionary development. What I know from this theory is that language develops gradually, starting from complex gestures to speech over time spontaneously without being designed by anything. People who believe in this theory are called evolutionists. Third, the theory of language as a human invention. What I know from this theory emphasizes that the position of language as a human invention distinguishes it from animals. The language shows the human ability to control the operation of his mind. The human mind has artificial characteristics, which means it is a tool for making language. Therefore, sound, cues, numbers, and letters are just tools used to create language. For the question number 7, And the last question, what is a relationship between language and linguistics? Explain your answer. The relationship between language and linguistics is very close. Language is a unit of linguistics branch. Language paved the way for the growth of the field of linguistics and its branches. The relationship between language and linguistics consists of the bonds between the elements of the language system and the branches of linguistics. Here is the relationship between the two. First, phonetic linguistics branch studies the sound of human speech in its physical aspects, which is related to the element of the language system, namely speech sounds. 2. The linguistic branch of phonology studies how speech sound in its cognitive aspects, which are related to elements of the language system, namely speech sound. Third, the branch of linguistic morphology studies words in human language, which is related to the language system, namely words of language. Number 4, the branch of linguistics syntax studies the rules in arranging words to form sentences in a particular language. This linguistic branch is in the elements of language with respect to present sentences. 5. Semantic linguistic branch studying the meaning and interpretation of words and sentences in a language branch. This relates to elements of language system, namely meaning in language. 6. And the last, pragmatics. Pragmatics learning the use of language such as words and sentences in a social context. This branch deals with elements of the language system, namely language use. That's all for me. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.